who's the Director of Planning.
Well, first of all, good morning.
Morning.
Pleasure to have you. Welcome to Sarnia. I've been asked to do a brief presentation on the 2017 strategic plan. Apparently, so what I'll do is I'll give a brief presentation. If you have any questions or any comments, feel free to interrupt me, and I'll try to answer the questions as best I can. So getting started, the corporate strategic plan was undertaken in 2017 and was approved by Council in March of 2017. And the plan set out 4 strategic priorities, or pillars I like to call them, being economic innovation, high quality of life and caring for all citizens, responsible financial management, and corporate excellence and leadership. As part of the review, we actually had we went out to the public, we went out to stakeholders, we went out to the council, we went out to staff members, and we sought input in regards to the actual strategic plan. From the strategic plan, we came out with mission statements, values, and visions. And I think the most important part of this strategic plan is the vision of Sarnia, the place you want to be. So what have we achieved since it was introduced in 2017? This year we put out a achievement brochure, which has actually been provided to you. It's a high-level review of some of the achievements that the city has seen over as part of the implementation of the strategic plan through 2017. I'm going to go through the basically some of the highlights. So once again, if you have any questions or any comments, feel free to interrupt me. I like the open style communications. So one of the items was to invest in infrastructure needed to revitalize the city and support growth. This was done, or part of the achievements that we saw in 2017 to enact this initiative was the reconstruction of the carriage house at Canatera Park. We saw a increase at the Brights Grove Lagoon septic systems. And we saw over $37 million put into the capital budget. We created a business-friendly environment. We saw 156 applications from the planning department and over $107 million worth of construction for 2017. In addition, we implemented Business Pal, which is an online application and payment service, so that we could be more accessible to individuals through the new streams of media and internet services. We collaborated with stakeholders and other networks. We are actually in the top 21 of communities for the smart communities in 2018. This achievement is basically reflects our ability or our commitment to increase and utilize broadband services. And we are part of the SWIFT, which is the Southwestern Internet Fiber Technology, I believe. I apologize if I got that slightly wrong, but that basically is the dedication. It's a group of municipalities and corporations that are getting in and trying to get fiber throughout southwestern Ontario. We collaborated with stakeholders to encourage land and infrastructure redevelopment and development. We actually invested $3.5 million into the demo and remediation of the old Sarnia General Hospital. That was partnered with a private investment. And once again, we received 156 applications for planning. And we also undertook a Minton Village. So Minton Village is an area of town. It's a historical area in the city, has seen hard times, and we are actually investing, and we have a working group and committee in regards of comprising of business owners, developers, local residents in regards to trying to revamp and redevelop and give a little kick in the butt to the Minton Village area. So that has been undertaken in 2017. High quality of life and caring for all citizens, improve the quality of life assets and amenities. We undertook a dog park pilot project in Germain Park. That has been successful and is now being implemented into a full-time dog park. We installed 7 solar-powered bus shelters and you can see those throughout the community. And we've actually planted over 800 trees on public land. Improve the quality of life, assets, and amenities. Part of the increase in regards to life was the review of the rec facilities and services. We also actually implemented a policy, or this is about the third or fourth year, Anne-Marie, maybe correct me if I'm wrong, on the Go Green Awards.
That's right.
The Go Green Awards, basically, the city presents to local businesses and individuals in regards to environmentally friendly initiatives. And finally, we have the age-friendly Sarnia. We did an age-friendly plan, and it was accepted by council, and we're now in the process of implementing an age-friendly plan for the city of Sarnia. It continued on the path of accessibility. We saw 12 new transit buses brought online. We actually received a municipal award in regards to accessibility, and we actually then turned around and issued awards to local businesses for their efforts in regards to providing accessibility. So not only did we receive rewards, but we also gave them to the community. Part of these reasons for the awards that we received as a municipality were things such as accessibility improvements to the Canatera Beach through the pavement or the walkway facility and a accessible beach wheelchair. And of course the transit accessibility. Right now, Sarnia Transit is considered handicap accessible. High quality of life. Continued to build relationships with Anjanawn First Nations. Sarnia is one of the few municipalities in Canada, I believe, that actually has within its boundaries a First Nation. As part of our commitment to the First Nation people, we undertook the Clean Air Sarnia and area. So this is basically a initiative that basically monitors the air around the First Nations. And industry, and basically provides input and information to the First Nations. And we also established the Declaration of Rights of Indigenous People Working Group, which is UNDRIP. So that's where we as a society, we as a city, work and sit on a working group with the First Nations in regards to things that we can co-work at, or we can partner with.
And just to add to the Clean Air Sarnia and Area Initiative, that provides real time. So it's instantaneous to find out what the air quality is.
Aggressively managed our assets. We saw an 81% increase to the capital projects budget in 2006 compared to 2016. Part of these increases includes the upgrades at the Sarnia Library and a $1.2 million Donahue Bridge restructuring project. The fostered financial stability. So in regards to 2017, we saw a $3.8 million payment of external debt. So we paid off $3.8 million worth of debt. And we actually saved a little over $1 million. I won't read all the zeros behind it, but a little bit more than $1 million surplus on our budget for 2017. Part of this was achieved through the securing of finances from senior government in the tune of $15 million. Grow and diversify. We saw in 2017, we saw the second highest construction permit value in over 30 years. We also saw donations from individuals in regards to sponsorship in the tune of $290,000. And once again, we saw over 156 applications by the planning department. You might see the planning department is mentioned a couple times in this slideshow.
Can you give me an example on that 290,000, the types of donations you received?
Robert, you might want to jump in here. So the Canada 150 was a big part of that project. The carriage house, I believe, was additional.
Yes. there's a lot of local contributions, but as well as different levels of government grants as well that we've applied for, always actively looking for opportunities.
Partners, yeah.
And just to pick up on that, Communities in Bloom National donated $25,000 in conjunction with CN to help us create a new gateway at on Michigan for Blue Water Trails, for the Howard Watson Nature Trail. You'll see that. And there's a lot more partnerships that are going on. They aren't large numbers. Sometimes they're over 100,000, but they're as small as 10,000, and that adds up to that number.
And I think the important part is that we're trying to maximize what we can achieve through obtaining whatever revenue outside of the actual tax base we can to maximize the services to our citizens. Improve internal and external communications. So this is the IT end of it. So I won't take any detailed questions on this one, but we did live stream 17 council meetings. We saw over 3,600 likes on Facebook. I'm told that's good. And we have obtained over 3,700 followers on the Twitter site. Overall, I'd like to sort of highlight the fact that we do have a Smart Sarnia website. The Smart Sarnia website is actually a host site where we have applications, projects. We're looking out for public consultations. So we did the bike lanes through this Smart Sarnia. We've done some planning. All the planning applications are on Smart Sarnia. We've done some work in regards to projects through Parks and Rec, through the clerk's office, in regards to communications, in regards to
And also just recently, intercity transit.
And the intercity transit was all done through that. And it's very interesting to see that we're actually seeing over 364 users per month actually access that site. So it's actually becoming quite an active and a useful tool for city government to gauge and obtain input from the community. We improved service delivery effectiveness and efficiency. We were nominated by the Sarnia Lambton Chamber of Commerce in regards to customer service in 2017. And we actually undertook a online registration. So this is Parks and Rec again, and they did an online registration for parks and recreational services. So you can actually go on and register your kids for things like skating and summer camps and so on and so forth. Renting ice.
And if I may just interrupt you again, Mr. Shaw, that is something relatively new for us. We have always had it done the old way. Paula can attest to that. People would come and line up so that they could sign up their children for whatever programs. And it was quite a lengthy process over many days, and people were always upset because they couldn't get in on time. So this was a real bonus to our citizens to allow them to take advantage of those programs in a timely way. So this is very new for us. Not so much for other cities, but certainly for us.
Focus on people and culture. We actually undertook the new memorial, which you may see in Centennial Park, was in celebration of Andre Morin, the former city engineer who passed away in 2017. The memorial was completely funded by city staff and celebrates his life. We also undertook the One Team logo and mantra. The One Team is basically the working of the entire city as one team, and we've done education and training seminars, and we're working towards that. And at the same time, we actually undertook, we somehow arranged to have 3 new agreements with the QPU locals without having to go into any kind of union situation. So we were actually, I think, right across the board. The teamwork and the city attitude is very positive. We established a culture of continuous improvement. We actually undertook the holiday video. So staff did a holiday video this year, which was put online. Apparently that some of the staff were a little more funny than others on the video. But it basically was to celebrate, it was in conjunction with celebration of lights, and actually just showed a little bit of the fun side of City of Sarnia. The other thing we had, we implemented 3 videos. We did 3 videos with the live, work, and play mantra, which basically is a marketing strategy for the city in regards to attracting. And we installed charging stations and for electronic vehicles and mobility devices. That's the end of my slide projection. If you have any other questions or comments, I'd be more than happy to try to answer them for you.
I think we're good. Yes?
Yeah.
I think we're good.
Okay.
So thank you very much, Alan. So the next person you're going to hear from, and actually, if the superintendent of schools and the St. Pat's presentation want to come up and sit up here and get ready to speak, that would be great. We're always looking at that time. So yes, so now we have the Director of Parks and Rec. This is Rob Harwood, and he's going to give you an overview, but also talk about the Parks and Rec master plan that we're undertaking even as we speak.
Alrighty. Well, thank you for being here and welcome to City of Sarnia. We're very, very proud that you're here. We're very proud to be part of this competition. We're very thankful for Councillor Gillis and all of her tireless efforts along with the Communities in Bloom group. Incredible bunch of people that have great vision and understanding of the value of having great spaces, green spaces in the City of Sarnia. So we're very thankful to work along with them. We're very happy indeed that we have made them a committee of council as well. So that just goes to show you our ongoing commitment to Communities in Bloom and how important we feel that it really is. I could stand here and talk for about 4 hours about all the great things about Sarnia, but the committee knows that, so they warned me that we have to keep this short. So we'll try and go through as quickly as possible. Sarnia Parks and Recreation Department's mantra. Parks, open spaces, and natural environments are essential to the health and ecological integrity of the community, and we follow that very closely. We have a lot of very committed citizens that come forward and work along with us, and we're very proud to be able to work openly with everybody to achieve all our common goals. The other thing that we pay close attention to is that all citizens have the right to enjoy access to a range of outdoor leisure activities. And you'll see in your tour today, and you'll hear from others, that we have taken great measures to make sure that we can make our spaces accessible, whether they're in facilities or they're out in outdoor spaces. It's absolutely fabulous, and it's great to see. I'm out at most events. I try to get out and see what's going on in our places and spaces, and I love to see the wheelchairs and mobility devices that are pulling up, the families that now have the opportunity to get out and partake in things that they couldn't have done in the past. It's been an interesting study to learn the logistics of families' events to actually be able to leave the house and get out and enjoy something. For the rest of us that can just basically head out the door in 5 minutes and get to these spaces and park ourselves wherever we need to, we don't always understand the challenges that somebody goes through with a family that has mobility issues. So we're very proud to try and come up with initiatives so that we can bring everybody out, and it's working. Sarnia Parks and Recreation team success is supported by strong collaborative partnerships in the community. And I'll speak very briefly on that. We obviously, like every other city, do not have the cash flow to be able to do all the wonderful projects that we would like to get accomplished, nor do we actually have the human resources to be able to do that. So collaborating with others that have that same interest and passion in the community is what is making us very successful. We have partnerships with local folks that will donate money, folks that want to be recognized for it, folks that don't. So there's a lot of donations that will come forward to us of folks that just believe in contributing to the community, and they're not really interested in having any kind of a fame as a result of it. We've got actually one person in the community, her name is Norma Cox, has done some amazing contribution and has great vision to outdoor spaces, and we're very thankful for her ongoing involvement. Again, I'll go quickly, but just wanted to show a few things here. Up in the top corner there, City of Sarnia Park staff. This is a great working group. These are people that signed up because they want to be part of something bigger. It's incredible to see the students that come through, usually university students, that come through the ranks, learn some great gardening skills, learn some people skills, and then go out into the world and then come back and tell us the things that they have learned actually while working as a student for us. I actually ran into somebody last night who is out doing a position taking care of a large piece of property that said the reason he's successful with that is because he had actually worked here on our sports fields crew many years back. So it's quite endearing to have that effect and influence on others. Top right corner, I have to mention them. We've got Chuck Toth and Patty Ross. And these two are just so dedicated to the betterment of our green spaces, and their vision and their creations are so greatly appreciated. You're going to see some of the things that Chuck has done, some of the things that Patty has done on your tour today, and I'm sure you're going to be impressed with that. St. Pat's High School, you're going to hear a little bit more from them, but I just wanted to mention, as Director of Parks and Recreation, the appreciation that I have for Matt to bring forward the students and involve them and engage them in projects that are community projects. Obviously, we need to capture students at a young age and get them to understand the good feeling of doing good things for your community. I think that will help as far as future volunteers. You know, if you've get them engaged younger, I think that they'll come back and volunteer and be part of a bigger thing later. So we're very pleased about that. Plugging our Communities in Bloom folks there in the middle there, they've done incredible things. You're going to see some amazing signs that we've got now. One of them that we just actually dedicated yesterday. It's incredible. And again, it's community collaborations that's making that possible. So we're very thankful for that. Up in the top corner, Lambton College. So engaging with our local college community. Last year actually was their 50th year in the community. Having Lambton College here is very important to us as a community. It's training some of the folks that are working locally, and also there's a lot of international students that are coming. Last year they wanted to celebrate their 50-year mark in the community, so we did a project with them, planted 50 trees to recognize their 50 years in the community. Sarnia Horticultural Society, you'll see up in the top right corner. There's a group that has over 100 members. They actually manage a local garden for us at College Street, and quite an interesting group of folks, all with a very engaging interest in the community. Communities in Bloom members, you're going to see, I believe that's part of your tour, is it, Councillor Gillis?
Yes,
Along
it
the
is.
waterfront.
Yes.
You will see some pretty awesome planters down there that we're pretty proud of. And it was great to have had an event where the Communities in Bloom folks were working along with some seniors, with some folks with mobility issues. These planters were designed and placed there because of their ability to someone to roll up in a mobility device and actually have that sensory opportunity to be able to actually engage with nature. And pretty important. Seaway Kiwanis in the bottom, another group that we've worked with for 50 years in the community that have continuously contributed. We're quite impressed with that. And Blue Water Trails Committee as well. Again, Committee of Council, Committee of engaged citizens who believe in the beauty of our city. Centennial Park. Touch on that very briefly. Centennial Park, in my assessment, it was an environmental challenge, and it has now been created into a safe and enjoyable community green space. I'm sure you're probably aware of that. I won't really go through all the details of what happened with that park, but we were very happy to open it back up again last year and really kind of rejigged the layout of the park, and it is actually serving the public so much better now. And we're quite impressed with what's happening with it and with the number of people that are engaged in the park.
And to that point, Jim was here when the park was closed.
Ah,
So Jim is and we've had 4 other groups of judges come during that time. So Jim is the first one of the judges that have been here before and have seen what it looked like before and understand why it was closed. He's the first one to see it open now, so.
You know, I also, because it's the third time, I was here when it was open before, when it was closed and now when it's reopened. So I've got the full
Well,
spectrum.
my friend, you are going to enjoy what you see. You know, I've included a few pictures. Like I said, I try to be involved in as many of the activities that are happening in our local places and spaces. And Blue Water Health, for instance, had their second fundraising event at the Agora this year. Very successful. Wow. Out in the open air, you've got the water behind you. What an incredible place to draw people out. Canada Day, you'll see up in the corner as well. 15 to 20,000 people that come out for the fireworks and for the events that happen at that park. The way it's laid out now actually contributes very largely to a more successful viewing of the fireworks. So we're impressed with the way it turned out. Down in the bottom corner there, you'll see one of the Waterfront Music Series events that's there. We have regular music that's free to the public. Lots of amazing local live acts that will come out and play. So we're impressed to draw people out to that site. Veterans Park, I think, is going to be on your tour as well. Staff have worked very hard for the last couple of years, along with various groups, to make that space incredible. The sign that's there right now is just spectacular, in my view, and I haven't heard anybody say differently, so I think you'll enjoy that. Canatera Park Beach, we have, this year is our 5th successful year of achieving Blue Flag status, which is, if you haven't heard of that, it's based on environmental stewardship. We take that very seriously, and our beaches and waterfront are very important to us and to our citizens. So we're definitely doing everything we can to try and maintain that Blue Flag status and to make sure that we sustain the environment for many years to come. Heritage Park, I think there's a flyover that you might see this.
There is, tomorrow.
Okay, and you'll hear more about that from Patty, because this is kind of her brainchild, I believe. 102 trees that are planted there. We're proud and we're impressed of that. Germain Park, I believe, is part of your tour as well. Wow, that's an incredible spot. And I'm sure it was incredible the last 2 times that you were here.
Was.
But
Wait till you see it.
yeah, this time, again, it's great every year. Canatera Park, just as a little example there, beach wedding. What a great spot to have a wedding. And there's all kinds of different uses that happen in our places and spaces. We've got, you had seen already the mobility matting at the beach. We're quite proud of that because obviously, again, I'm there quite often in the evenings. I love seeing wheelchairs, mobility devices that can actually get right down onto the beach and have that same feel as all the other families that can go and enjoy that space. McPherson Fountain you'll be walking past as well. A new thing to us this year is the cremated remains scattering site, which has a lot of great public interest, and it was all totally funded by private citizens. Very largely the Indo-Canadian group and others that have come forward and donated to that. So, you know, in Al's slide, you saw that there was a fairly significant amount of dollars that we've had donated. It comes in pockets and in pieces. So everywhere that we can find others to engage with that have that same level of passion about the community, we do. And we're very thankful for all the contributions that we get. I thought I'd throw in that bottom right one, Brights Grove Shoreline. That wasn't even us. That is neighbors. That is neighbors that enjoy having great flora and to beautify the space for others to enjoy. So, what are we working on to continue with our success? We have a commemorative bench program where folks can actually purchase benches and memorialize them or name them after family members if they wish, or whatever case it may be. Various locations of that is possible. We have a commemorative tree and forest program as well. Same sort of premise that folks just want to contribute to the community and to recognize a loved one or someone that's special to them that's still alive today. We have a playground development and equipment replacement program, community partnerships. We work along with service clubs. We work along with private citizens that want to form groups in neighborhoods. Again, it's just everybody in it for the right reason, everybody working together to beautify our community. We have ongoing collaborative projects with community service groups, different service clubs and such. We're having regular meetings with them, and we're excited for some of the things to come. Stay tuned. We have ongoing collaboration with a City of Sarnia Environmental Advisory Committee, which is also a committee of council, and we feel is very important, and evidently the fact that it's embraced by council shows that we do, as a community, have a commitment to the environment. An urban forest management program that we'll be bringing forward as well. And the Parks and Recreation Culture Master Plan. We are putting a lot of hours into this thing, and it's so important to us. And community is engaged in it as well. We have been doing surveys. We have been facilitating public meetings. We have been meeting with all the major user groups to make sure that we get it right and that we get all the information that we need to come up with a great document at the end of it. We're excited for this. Regular conference calls and meetings with them. We hope to be able to put this out probably early next year. There'll be a report coming to council in the fall. So things are moving along very nicely with that. And evidently that will help us to shape the future. That'll help us to understand better the demographics of the community. And that, I think, will work well. Okay, so I went 5 minutes over, Al. I'm sorry. Thank you very much. And do you have any questions of us? Nope. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Rob. So the next person that's going to be speaking is going to be speaking on behalf of the Sarnia Heritage Committee. It's our student that we have for the summer, and his name is Simon Lacoste.
Hi, I'm Simon. Good morning and welcome to Sarnia. As Anne-Marie said, I work with the Heritage Committee, and I'm in the Planning and Building Department. I'm a city staff member that is a liaison for them. First of all, I would like to extend a warm welcome to our out-of-town visitors. I hope you enjoy your stay while you're here. I was invited to speak to you today to talk about the activities that the Sarnia Heritage Committee has been involved in. A bit of background on the committee. It's an advisory committee that is responsible and accountable to Sarnia City Council. It's staffed by volunteer citizens from the community, and it's supported by city staff members like myself. These members of the community, they're very passionate about heritage preservation. It's legislated into existence by the province, and these heritage committees are found in most municipalities and counties in Ontario. The committee is responsible for enacting heritage bylaws that protect the city's built, cultural, and natural heritage. It enforces these bylaws, too, to ensure the continuous preservation of these heritage assets, because if you don't look after them, it can be hard to preserve them. Also, the committee is involved in outreach activities, too, activities that are aimed at getting the public to participate and appreciate heritage conservation as much as they do. As a community, Sarnia is very proud of its heritage in general. You notice it when you pay attention to the many heritage activities that take place in this city. For example, there are many monuments and sites around town that honor Alexander Mackenzie, who is the second Prime Minister in Canada's history. He was born in Scotland, but he actually moved over to Sarnia and he lived a big portion of his life here. He built many of the many buildings in Sarnia because he was a stonemason, and then he became a prime minister later. Also, the city currently has more than 250 properties on its heritage register, and it's looking to add even more. If you don't happen to know what it is, a heritage register, it's a document that lists the properties that are historically significant in a city because of either their architecture or their history. When you walk downtown, you'll notice too just the wealth of old building facades that have been meticulously conserved all over the downtown. Parts of the downtown look like you're walking in the early 1900s. If you walk on Christina, which is the main street right over there, you'll notice that on your left eventually there's the Imperial Theater, which is it was a theater that was originally built in the early 1900s, but it was left vacant in the 1980s when the theater closed down. In the 1990s, the theater group in Sarnia here, they took it over and they renovated it, and now it's a thriving arts venue. There's something like last year they had shows on 280 nights of the year. So a very big portion of the year there's shows happening there, lots of activity. If you go down the street a bit further, you'll see the Lawrence House on the right. And that's a house constructed in 1892 by a business magnate. And it's now used as a place to promote and exhibit local art. You can also stop by City Hall over here, and you can grab a Heritage Buildings pamphlet. This will allow you to take a walking tour around the downtown by yourself, and you'll be able to see all the beautiful old buildings that we have all over the place here. If you're more interested in learning about the way things used to be in Sarnia, if you happen to be back in Sarnia in a few weeks, you can join me on one of my guided tours of the downtown, which are taking place in August. You'll also be able to join the committee for Heritage Workshop, again, if you're back in Sarnia, on September 29th, in a couple months. This workshop will feature author Ron Brown, who is renowned in Ontario for his books that talk about the history of the province. Of course, this is all very exciting, but I think that the future of Sarnia looks bright too, maybe even more exciting than what I've been talking about here. The committee is currently working on designating the Sarnia Collegiate Institute and Technical School. This is a high school from the early 1900s, and it's of great interest to developers who are interested in maintaining its historical integrity. The committee is also interested in the downtown because of its potential as a heritage district. And also, the committee is also eventually hoping to record the historical walking tour that I'll be doing in August and record it as little stories that you could access either online or on an app. And members of the public wouldn't even need a tour guide like me to go around and show them the different sites. They could just take their app out and walk and hear the stories themselves. And the committee is also interested in exploring opportunities to build a museum that would showcase the heritage in Sarnia here. Because currently the historical information at Sarnia is found at the public library, which is very accessible. But hopefully soon, there's going to be a beautiful museum to have all that information in. The Heritage Committee is passionate about Sarnia's history, and it's willing to work very hard to preserve it. For me, it's been a privilege to work with the committee thus far, and I'm looking forward to Sarnia's future. I feel that it's important to remember the past lessons and make use of our heritage assets when it comes to planning our future. I hope you feel the same way too, and I hope that you will appreciate Sarnia's heritage while you're here. I hope you have a great time in Sarnia. Thank you.
Thank you, Simon. I just wanted to add a couple of things from Simon's presentation. During Heritage Week in February, we have a wealth of photographs that have been donated or collected over the years that we showcase at the local malls. At the Bayside Mall, it's standalone, and at the Lambton Mall, which is the larger of the two, it's manned by members of the Heritage Committee. And regarding the museums that we have talked about, the Lambton Heritage Museum holds all the collections of all the artifacts from the city of Sarnia, or the majority of them. And what we are doing right now, beginning I believe in September, to pick up on our workshop, is we're going to start extracting some of that and starting to showcase some in our spaces, be it here at City Hall in the foyer or being at the library itself. So to get people familiar with their history again. Thank you, Simon.
Yep.
So our last presentation is the Superintendent Scott Johnson from the St. Clair Catholic School District School Board, Mr. Abbott, who is, I don't know your full title, Mr. Abbott, other than that you are one of the Abbotts, a teacher at St. Pat's. Could you give us your full title?
I'm Department Head of Technological and Computer Studies at St. Pat's.
Thank you. And also we have Brooklyn Pike, who is one of Mr. Abbott's students, and we have Al Duffy, who was the person who kind of put this whole partnership together, and Mr. Duffy is a member of the Communities in Bloom Committee. So gentlemen and lady, you're next. And Simon was gracious enough to give you some time.
Are you already on here?
Fantastic. Well, good morning, everyone, and thank you for the opportunity to speak to you today about what we think was a pretty powerful learning opportunity for our students at St. Patrick's, and we think as well for the City of Sarnia. It's something that we're quite proud of, but also quite grateful for. When you look at the Ministry of Education's Achieving Excellence, which is their strategic plan, their goal and their belief is that strong communities are the foundation of strong education systems. And they have 4 pillars. They strive to create students who are personally successful, economically productive, and actively engaged citizens. At the local level on the left side, that's where our Catholic board comes in, St. Clair Catholic. And we strive to support students in living their faith, academic achievement, and stewardship, leadership, and social justice. And we think that the work done this year with Communities in Bloom is a beautiful example of our achieving success and these students achieving success. St. Patrick's has a long history of supporting the community when you look at things like Cyclone Aid, Irish Miracle, Relay for Life, and we think the recent beautification of Centennial Park is something that we want to share with our students, our parents, and our staff. We hope that these opportunities we're giving our students make it more likely that as adults, they come back to Sarnia and contribute and continue to contribute as active members to the community. Experiential learning is, I think, a recent term that's taken off in education. And basically, it's an approach to student learning activity where we take learning outside of the classroom. So getting kids' faces out of textbooks and into the community or local businesses. Experiential learning is about engaging students at a higher level than we have and about having them create knowledge instead of consume knowledge. Community connections and experiential learning begins with relationships, and that actually started with some of our community partners. Sitting down with Al quite some time ago, Al and Matt, Al and myself, to say, how can we help you? What's your agenda? What's your mission and purpose? And how can we both win? How can we both walk away from this being better off than we were before we had the relationship? And so at this point, I'm going to call Mr. Al Duffy up to segue the conversation.
Good morning. This is my iPad. I only have about 4 points to make, and I'm allowed 2 minutes to do it. So my first point I'd like to make is that I'm merely a facilitator. I feel like with all that has happened, I've just facilitated the system, and it's worked out quite well. My second point is that the student has become the teacher. Mr. Abbott, sitting right here, was one of my students when he was in high school. And so now, working with him, he is teaching me many things with his students and what he's done for Communities in Bloom, especially with the example being the flower stands that you'll see at Centennial Park today that are fantastic as far as I'm concerned. It started out very innocently. You might see a smile on his face. It was very innocently, little short conversations that has really snowballed, quite a big snowball, as a matter of fact. And actually, we're very pleased and very excited because it's a lot of fun. We're having a lot of fun. And I, being a semi-retired secondary school teacher, still being involved with students is very, very exciting and very enjoyable for me at this stage of the game. Partnerships being very important. I think we've gone way outside the box in developing our partnerships. And from that, one of the better ones was St. Pat's. Working under his guidance with one of his other teachers, I had to write down, actually, I tried to figure out what his title would be, and we never could come up with one, but it is the media production area. And they are so far advanced that it was surprising to myself and the committee. We actually gave them an opportunity to come up with a new banner, the flowers, our website, things like that. And I have with me our co-op student who is standing here quietly. And Brooklyn is actually another innovative, creative thing that we have done, and that is that she's the first co-op student of any committee of the City of Sarnia that they've ever had. So she's, again, something brand new. And when you go downtown today, and the reason she's standing here is so I could say to you that when you go downtown today, you will see on the lampposts very beautiful and colorful banners. And this was her design. So we thank her very, very much publicly for what she has done in her design, because it's beautifully done. And that is about all I have to say, and I hope 2 minutes, was it 2? Did you count it? Okay. And I'm now, I guess, going to turn it over to Matt, who can then more in depth on that.
So when Al, pardon me, when Al came to me with the idea of helping out communities in Bloom, it was kind of a novel concept, although tying in exactly with what the Ministry of Education wanted and how our school works in the community, and and with some of the new initiatives from the Ministry of Education. And it was novel in the sense that not only was the school being asked, or my tech department being asked to build something, but we are going to be allowed to be involved in the design, implementation, installation of the projects as well. And that's really, really important, because it's not just students being asked to build something as part of a sweatshop, which can happen a lot. We're involved in a lot of community outreach with different charities, and we'll build projects for raffles, help with other events in the community. But this one was kind of neat. So this started right from students in a brainstorming session down at the park with Al. We helped facilitate. And this is all, again, part of a Ministry of Education grant that we were able to access. And the students getting together, and I think it's important, again, to realize Al understands the power that that is created when you put a group of people, especially young people, together, and what they can come up with. And so from that, we came up with the concept of the planter stands, and we were able to build them in my shop. The students were then, again, part of this novel concept, being able to work with the city. I was a little concerned about that when we were first told that, yes, maybe we can get together with city employees and actually put these together and actually install them. So I was a little concerned about that, dealing with workers in a municipality, that kind of thing. But we were so warmly welcomed by Communities in Bloom, Parks and Rec, and the employees themselves. So it was kind of, like I said, novel in that way that we were able to put that together. The students, again, were involved not only in the building, but the putting together of the, and installation of the stands. As Al mentioned as well, this project kind of blew up just from that into our communications technology students being involved in the design of the banners for downtown, website design, brochure design. It really exploded to the point where we had, I think, over 100 students involved that have touched this project in one way or another. And there's a lot of pride, there's a lot of community, how would I put it, students just, again, loving to be involved in the community. I've had students come to me after, say they've gone down, they've checked it out. I've had students text me, message me, saying they've checked everything out, and they're proud to be part of this project. Part of this, again, was being part of the community partnerships. LIUNA, our local laborers union, has wanted to be actively involved in the school, and they supplied us with a training day where I took a busload of students to the local hall, and this is all part of my students being prepared to help with the city employees to install the planter stands. So they took us through concrete pouring, concrete finishing, scaffolding, a number of extra things as well. It was one of the best field trip days as far as a technical or trades day that I've ever seen, and I've been to a lot of them, and is now actually going to be used as a template for a number in the province as well. My students loved being part of this project. They loved being involved with it, male, female, at-risk students, students who are disengaged unless they're involved in something that has some meaning, and this had meaning for them. They were able to explore different careers, again, the LIUNA Day being a major part of this, and it got them out of the building, which is an important thing as well, and that's what we're discovering in the community as well, and in the world of education. So again, remember, we're dealing with students that normally are not engaged. We're dealing with students that just want to get hands-on and get dirty and get out there and do stuff, and they really grasped onto this. And tonight, there are going to be at least a couple students at the dinner, and you might be able to speak to them, 1 or 2 from my area, and a couple from Mr. Walicki's area, the communications technology teacher, and you'll be able to ask them questions if you'd like about this project as well. So, any questions?
Job.
Okay. Oh, one other thing I wanted to mention, and that was our communications technology class, and they talked about different things in the county. Well, we also have an award-winning website, an interactive website, where they've gone to some of the important areas of important sites of the community, and have an interactive website where they've taken 360-degree cameras, and so you can actually go online and check out some of the areas in our county as well.
They won the Lieutenant Governor's Heritage Award for doing so.
Yeah.
30 students were taken at Queen's Park and presented.
Thank you for mentioning that, because I know that the judges are taking notes. I just want to thank everyone for coming and making presentations and showing our international judges and our national judges exactly what goes on in the city of Sarnia and the county of Lambton for communities in bloom. I want to also note, and you probably didn't pick up on this, but this whole presentation is being live streamed and will be repeated several times. So you are celebrities in your own right.
By a former student of mine.
Yes, by another student, yes, those students are everywhere. Mr. Duffy has a broad reach. So as we conclude the presentations, it would be nice if we could all the presenters and the judges could come together and we could have just a picture taken before we start our actual tour downtown. So if we could all maybe come to the center. Does anyone have a camera? Hooray. Always prepared. Take off my lanyard. Kind of come around this, my chair is.
I think.
Is that okay as a backdrop? It's my pleasure. Thank you.
Oh, that's true.
I just close it, will that do it?
Is this thing the broadcast thing? Yeah.
All else fails, kill it.
Plug it.